The beginning of this, he's going to be talking about the Anunnaki gods. Okay? He's going to give a description of the Anunnaki gods of Anu, Enki, and Enlil. Okay? And what role that they actually play in the Bible and in terms of the Garden of Eden, how Adam and Eve was actually made, so on and so forth. Okay, so I want you guys to take note, because like I said, for those of you who are actually looking for things to study, this is going to be an informative video. So if you got a pen and a pad, you might want to take it so you can write it down, and then go back and get some of these books that he's going to be talking about. All right, so for those of you who are looking for crystals, man, the website is open, man. I'll be putting that link in the description or that link in the comment section, probably somewhere along the line of this video, all right? But without further ado, man, we're just going to go ahead and jump into this video. I will, look, but if you haven't followed me on YouTube, please go over there and follow me on YouTube. Any videos that you have missed in terms of what we do over here, the lives, you can find them over there, okay? I'm going to be uploading everything that we do here over there, okay? Now, Instagram going to be something different. Okay, but without further ado, we're just going to jump into it. Let's see what the guy got to say.
A little bit about on their names.
Uh-oh.
Let's talk a little bit about this pantheon that came to Earth. There's a couple of really interesting gods, lowercase g, that came here. The first one is Anu. Now, he wasn't the first one here, but he was considered to be the fatherhead or the Lord God. He was over the main gods that came to this planet. His name was Anu, A-N-U. Hence.
Okay, so I will tell you about Anu from my studies. Anu is supposed to be, Anu is the role of the Yahweh, okay? This is who you refer to, or the modern day Christian will refer to when he says the Most High. They're actually speaking about Anu, okay? So Anu and his brother, okay? If I'm not mistaken, they had a war over the seat. I can't remember who Anu's brother was. They had a war over the throne, okay? Back on planet Nibiru, all right? Which is planet X, okay? This planet that comes across our planet every 3,600 years, okay? They had a fight over this planet, all right? And so once this fight broke out, his brother ended up losing. I can't remember. Well, not Anu. Anu ended up getting the seat back. Whatever his brother was, ended up winning the fight, and got the throne. Well, Anu worked out. He prepared for the next time that he would kick the fight off to get his seat back because it was his, okay? It was his birthright to have the seat, okay? And so what happened is Anu ended up catching his brother off guard. They ended up fighting. He ended up winning the fight, ended up getting the throne back and sentencing his brother to death, okay? His brother then escaped on the spaceship that they had been building because, their ozone layer was starting to basically tear. It was starting to tear down, okay? So what Anu did was they were actually building the spaceship because they needed gold, okay? They needed certain minerals to fix the atmosphere, all right? So they were planning on taking the spaceship out to go get through the Milky Way and try to come to what is now known as planet Earth, but was known as planet Kai or Ki back then, okay? Which was actually named after Enki. That's something he's going to touch on. It's something he's going to touch on in this video, right? But he ended up escaping on his plane, coming through the planet, landing, actually making it through the Milky Way when they didn't know if he was going to be able to make it or not. Getting message back to his brother and them and saying, hey, I made it over here. We could save the planet. Thinking that was going to get him a pass in order to be able to go back home to his home planet and not be sentenced to death, okay? And that's the story in a nutshell. We will be getting to that on the page, on the page, all right? So his sons came down here, all right, which was Enki and Enlil, okay? And Enki was the first to land on the water, so he named the planet after Enki. He's not going to get too far into that in here, but I'm just giving you guys a brief description. Now, when we talk about, if I'm not mistaken, Enki, this is who the Pope worships, Enki or Enlil one. Okay, but we're just gonna go ahead and get into this video.
The name that humans gave them, the Anunnaki. Okay, Anu. So they gave still credit to Anu as the fatherhead or the God figure. He mostly ruled from space or from the sky or from heaven, as the ancient texts say. And Anu had sons. Okay, his sons were Enki and Enlil. Enki and Enlil. Now these two play a huge part in history. And in a lot of the information that that I'm talking about today. Now, these people, these three, are considered gods. They were deified by the peoples of earth. They masqueraded as gods, except for Enki, Ea Enki. He kind of had a certain level of empathy and sympathy for human beings. He even married a human being. He hates to have human beings. Um, he had a baby by a human being. You know, he one of his relationships resulted in a baby named Zazudra, who's actually Noah in the modern day Bible. And so that story is copied from the Epic of Gilgamesh. However, these people were not gods. They were flesh and blood people. They weren't multidimensional people. They weren't from some other universe. These were people that walked around just like we do. They put on their pants one leg at a time, right? Or their kilt, they pull it up over their hips, whatever. But they were knowledgeable. They had advanced technology. They had wisdom beyond what we had. They knew about genetics and how to modify genetics. They knew about chemistry. They knew about alchemy. They knew about quantum physics and quantum mechanics. They understood planetary alignments. They understood navigation through stars as left behind by some of these Sumerian tablets that depict star maps and from one star to another. So this is information left behind that it's not coming from Billy Carson's brain. It's coming from what they left behind as records for us to learn from and to understand exactly what went on in the ancient past. Now, what's interesting is these two were at odds with each other. You have on the right-hand side, you have Enlil. Now, this guy was given control of Earth, even though his brother Enki the Earth was named after him. His name is E-A, capital E, capital A, space, Enki. Now, Ki is the name for Earth in ancient times, and Ea was the beginning of his name.
Now, I will tell y'all this. We spoke about this before, right? I told y'all that when we talk about the beginning, Genesis, all right? Welcome to the last Shadella, Kenzie. When we talked about Genesis, right, we understand that when it comes to words, man, because we know that the English words it's not an original language, okay? English is not an original language, all right? So a lot of the words that we speak in terms of English comes from different other, backgrounds, such as like the Greek language and Latin language, okay? So when we talk about what Genesis is, we have to understand that Genesis, we talked about this in the last lab. The word Genesis does not mean the beginning, okay? It actually means reconstruction because it derives from the ancient Greek word genos, okay? Which means to reconstruct or to replenish. So when we talk about the story that he's finna get ready to get into, you have to understand that, it wasn't the very beginning. In fact, the beginning that they want to tell you about when Adam and Eve came, it was the replenishing, and it was the third replenishing of the planet. All right. It was not even a second replenishing. It was the third replenishing. And there wasn't these beings. I've told you guys on several occasions, bro, that the beings or Adam and Eve, the people that were created, was not the only ones on the planet at the time. It was other people on the planet. The nine ether beings, us being the Elohim, we were already here. Elohim meaning the gods, because Elohim is not a singular word. It's a plural word that means gods, G-O-D-S. We were already here. The Ethiopians, the Ether Utopians, and the Nubians, the light-giving, life-giving, burning energies of the sun, we had already existed on this planet long before the Anunnaki came and wanted to give life to Adam and Eve, okay?
So it became over time Earth, E-A-R-T-H. E-A for the beginning, honoring Enki, and Ki turning into E-A-R-T-H, so it became Earth. But Earth is really named after Enki, just so you can know. If you go back into the tablets, you discover this. Now, he was supposed to be ruling over Earth, but there is no real true information as to why he wasn't given the true full power as his brother Enlil. Enlil ended up ruling and running the planet, superseding him, and he actually had to operate underneath, as far as the totem pole go of power, he was underneath Enlil, even though he wasn't supposed to be. There's no real understanding as to why. We could never find it. Nobody's ever found it yet as to why that happened, but that's the way it happened. Now, Enki was a scientist, an astrophysicist, a geneticist, and Lil was more of a battle king ruler and also an engineer and architect. Okay, and so and Lil created this place called Eden in Mesopotamia, Edin. And in this,
Now, Eden is what? The Garden of Eden. He's finna get ready to go into the story of how Adam was actually created. See, we have this thing. We was taught that Adam was created from the dirt. Okay? When in all actuality, Adam was actually, well, he's going to get into it. He was actually given birth to. All right? He was held in the womb for not 9 months, but for 10 months to be exact. All right?
Eden, it was an outdoor laboratory with this huge gate and guards, armed guards surrounding it, as evidenced in the Apocrypha text. So if you read the book of Adam, you discover that there were armed guards at the gates to Eden. And those armed guards would prevent you from leaving or prevent you from coming in. Okay. And it wasn't like, hey, you can't come here. It was like, if you come over here, we're going to kill you. And you can read all of that that's a whole nother podcast. Read the book of Adam from the Apocrypha. It was left out of the Bible on purpose because it's too brutal. Adam even tries to commit suicide a couple times. But anyway, because he's so distraught about what he figured out what happened and who they really were.
Not to mention, they wanted to be able to control you, man. You have to understand. We talk about who Tammuz was. Tammuz was the same god that came down around the time that the Tower of Babel was being built, okay? This god who was ultimately portrayed as Jesus as well. We know Jesus goes by a lot of people, okay? Some of the stories that we talk about when it comes to Jesus was actually taken from his story as well. He went to Samaritan, okay, to the school of mystics, and he stole these tablets, okay, y'all? He stole these tablets and he plagiarized them in order to fit what it is that he wanted the message that he wanted to give in order to control society, so to speak. All right. So
that's in the Apocrypha.
They didn't want you to know this knowledge because they don't want you to know who you are. They don't want you to know the truth. They know that they can use religion to control us, y'all.
For text, you can get the complete Apocrypha, or you can get the PDF files online. I typically don't like downloading PDF files from the internet because you don't know what's been altered. I like to get the actual physical book in my hand. That's what I like to do. Okay. And so you have these two guys here. Eden's been created, and you have a lot of these beings coming through in and out that they've been working with creating. So they started with cloning the existing hominid on this planet and using this cloning technique, which would create a worker, but then it would fail because the worker would die early, would die rapidly, and also the worker could not reproduce. Right? It's like trying to once you made a donkey or a mule with a horse, the offspring can't have any babies. So whatever splicing technique they used to do this, the failure point was that they couldn't reproduce, and it was a lot of work to keep creating more and more of these offspring the manual way. So
we have to understand that they was cloning even back then because these gods, or who they were portraying to be as, they were basically way more intelligent than we were at the time. Okay.
So they came up with an idea. Their sister did actually. She said, "You know what? Tell you what I'm going to do. I'm going to take the baby to term myself." So that was the solution. So what she did was she took one of the hominids from the captured people that were in the Eden, right, in the laboratory. She took an egg out of the woman and added the essence to it, which means they probably genetically modified it or added some DNA or whatever they did. She made a zygote in modern terms, what we would call a zygote, inserted it into her womb during her menses, and then took the baby to full term, 10 months, according to the tablets, 10 months. And then Adam was born, the first genetically modified, what they called to perfection human being, Homo sapien. So Homo sapien, people were already here. Millions of people were on this planet long before Adam even arrived. So forget that Adam was first and Eve was first, and then they were, they had, no. There were people here already, and I covered that in the previous video, but to add credence to that, after Cain killed Abel, he told God that, which was really Enlil, that, the people out there are going to kill me. What people are out there? And he told them, no, they won't kill you. I put a mark on you so they know you're my boy. And by the way, when you get out there, you'll find your wife. So there were people already here. Many, many, many people.
Drop them knives, man, if you still following me, okay? But we talked about this. I told y'all that these are the questions that we don't ask. We just go along with what the preacher tells us, y'all. You feel me? We don't get up and do the research that's necessary to even get out and get this information. Okay? We just go to church happily and willingly and allow the minister to come along and tell us the story that he has been trained and molded to give us. Because half of these ministers go to school. They don't even follow the bloodline of the Bible, of the people, which in the Bible tells us that should be the only ones to even minister the word, right? Okay? They don't do that. They don't do that. So, we know the etymology of the word, derived from a word. The etymology of the word education is a word that actually means to train to the mold. So they've been trained to give us certain scriptures, to say certain things in the Bible, and to tell us that we shouldn't even be questioning it. All right? This is what they've been trained. It's an agenda. Okay? And because we are so lazy, we don't get up and we don't read the Bible for ourselves. We depend on the minister from the church to basically give us the knowledge that we need in terms of our spirituality, in terms of letting us know who we truly are.
Was just one of the very first genetically modified to what they considered perfection, because he can listen, he can obey, he can take command, he can handle the workload, and as well as he can reproduce. That was important to them. Okay. And so where we have the Garden of Eden situation is where Enlil comes back after some time. And while he's gone, though, but before he comes back, he goes away. Before he comes back, Adam and Eve. And how do we get Eve? Well, they figured out that Adam was mating with these other splices that they had created, and it wasn't working. So they put him to sleep, and they took some of his DNA out of his bone, and they created Eve as a clone of him. And then they made it the two together, and she was able to get pregnant.
Okay, so did we hear how he said? Now, I want you to understand that everything that he's telling you right now actually comes from the Enuma Elish. All right? It actually comes from the Enuma Elish. As I told you guys on several occasions, right? The beginning comes from the Enuma Elish. What they want you to tell you, what you read in the Bible, which is called Genesis, which really means the reconstruction or the replenishing, okay, of the planet, Ka at the time, okay? It actually was plagiarized from a book from a group of stones, okay, clay stones that was written on in the time of Samaritan, okay, of the Samaritans, called the Enuma Elish. So he's giving you, because he's actually went over there and studied these books for himself. This is not something that he's telling you from a third party standpoint. This is first-hand standpoint. He's actually went over there and studied these books, and that's why I like him so much. I'm not gonna lie. That's why I really like him.
However, they were in the Garden of Eden, which is an outdoor laboratory setting. They had timed mating sessions. It was like you were cattle. It was timed. It was, okay, now it's time for you to go mate. Okay, go back into your area. Things like that. And they started mating him and other people they had created like bucks, right? It's just like from the slavery times. Well, anyway, Adam and Eve are in the garden, and they're talking to the serpent. Now, you have to remember, in ancient times, the serpent represented wisdom, understanding, knowledge. It had nothing to do with...
Now, what did I tell you? I had someone comment in my comment section below. I put a post up on my page, and she said that the serpents meant... This is how far going we are, y'all. This is how much we lack the knowledge of understanding, right? Because the lady got in my comment section and told me that the serpents was associated with the devil. In which I told her, I said, in ancient times, the serpent was connected to wisdom. It meant wisdom. It had nothing to do with Satan. Okay? So we have to actually stop listening to everything that we hear and do the research ourselves. Okay? We're talking about a group of people that was here millions of years before the Bible, it's a young Bible. Okay? The Bible is actually only 6,000 years old. It's young.
Anywhere you see a serpent depicted in ancient texts, tablets, cylinder scrolls, papyruses, it's about wisdom and understanding. You see the two entwined snakes make the caduceus. That's for the medical industry, right? You still see those today. It had to do with knowledge and wisdom, understanding. And so the snake that came into the garden was actually Enlil's brother.
Jazzare Lily, did you not get the memo? She said 2 serpents are of Lucifer. Bro, Lucifer, first of all, is a whole different person from Satan. Let's get that straight right now, okay? We need to understand that Lucifer is a different God than Satan is. These are 2 different individuals that we're talking about, okay? And so, if you didn't hear what he was saying, Jazzare Lily, the serpents had nothing to do with Satan. This is just something that they told you. It had nothing to do. What he's telling you is that this was actually Enlil. These are recorded. Everything that he's telling you right now is recorded within the Enuma Elish. Okay? It's being recorded in the Enuma Elish, the clay tablets that was written, which is where they get the information that they get from. The reason you are thinking that this is true is because the information has been mistranslated and given to you. KK, Kai, yes, that is Billy Carson. This is Billy Carson, Kai.
Enki. He felt bad for the humans, and he wanted to talk to Adam and Eve and let them know that they were nothing less than them. That they had the same consciousness, they had the same possibility of ascending to higher levels of consciousness and understanding. That they weren't animals, and that they themselves, who ruled over them, weren't even gods. Hold on one second, guys. Okay, I'm back. I have to do that one.
Another thing that we have to understand, Jezreel Lily, is that a lot of the ancient symbols that we have, as such as the all-seeing eye, the Ankh, so on and so forth, these symbols have been taken from us and started to be used for evil reasons. But it's also letting you know that the people that's using these symbols, they in tune with the ancient knowledge, okay? And you have to understand, we live in a magical realm, so everything is basically, it runs off of your intentions. What are your intentions behind doing everything that you do? That's what it's all about.
More time. That they themselves weren't even gods. Okay? Pretty interesting. And what that did was that caused a firestorm in their brain. They were like, wait a minute. We are like you. We're not animals. We are conscious, sentient beings that have the capability
now, I want
to
you
think, feel, and create our own decisions and have.
Now, listen, I want y'all to hear what he said about the story that was given to us in the Bible concerning Adam and Eve, and how the serpent actually came to Eve and told her to eat from the tree of knowledge, okay? Which, when she bit the apple and gave it to him, okay? I want you to hear the true story. So for those of you who are still in here saying that this serpent was someone who crawled on his belly, I want you to understand that this God right here that we're learning from at this moment, okay, is actually someone who has taken the time out to study these clay tablets, which is known as the Enuma Elish, okay? He actually took the time to study these tablets, and this is why he got the information. So he's giving you the right knowledge, not the mistranslation of whatever it is that they taught us in the Bible. He's telling you what actually happened and who they're calling the serpent, who the serpent really was, and it was Enlil, okay? One of the sons of Anu. It was Enlil, and it wasn't a trickery. He just told them the truth because I think Enki told them the truth. Whoever he is, we're going to listen because they wanted them to worship them as gods, okay? He didn't want them to know. You have to understand that this is not the story of the beginning, but the replenishing. They wanted them to think that they were the gods, so they wanted them to be blinded. They didn't want them to understand that they were made in the likeliness and the image, and they could do the same thing that they were doing. They didn't want them to know. Listen to what he's saying.
Wisdom and understanding. You see the two entwined snakes make the caduceus. That's for the medical industry, right? You still see those today. It had to do with knowledge and wisdom, understanding. And so the snake that came into the garden is actually Enlil's brother, Enki. He felt bad for the humans. And
okay, he's saying the snake, which represents wisdom at the time that this was taking place, came into the garden. It was really weird. It was really Enki, okay, who came into the garden to tell him the truth. It wasn't a real snake.
And he wanted to talk to Adam and Eve and let them know that they were nothing less than them. That they had the same consciousness, they had the same possibility of ascending to higher levels of consciousness and understanding. That they weren't animals, and that they themselves, who ruled over them, weren't even gods. Hold on one second, guys.
My bad, Brian Moore say I'm yelling. My bad, Reflection.
Okay, I'm back.
Okay, Christina Shannon, I never said that you were a lizard. Okay? You have to understand, there's no way you can be a lizard. Okay? You are not a draconian reptilian. Don't get, I never said that. I don't know where y'all come with this stuff at, man. You misinterpreted what I was saying.
I have to do that one more time. That they themselves weren't even gods. Okay? Pretty interesting. And what that did was that caused a firestorm in their brain. They were like, wait a minute. We are like you? We're not animals? We are conscious, sentient beings that have the capability to think, feel, and create our own decisions and have free will, just like you guys do? Yeah. Oh, man. That's when the awakening happened. And that's when they started looking for clothes and everything else.
Okay, I'm sorry to interrupt this, but Christina Shannon, okay, what I want you to understand is, bro, I'm not saying that you are a lizard, okay? I'm saying that, guess what? When it comes to, and this is not me being racist, it's for educational purposes only, okay? I have love for everybody on this realm, okay? But what I need you guys to understand is that when it comes to the darker group of beings, meaning the 9 ether beings, okay, we are the superior race, whether you like it or not, okay? It's the truth. And the reason it's the truth is because around the time that this planet was formed, it was so hot and dense that in order to survive on this planet, you had to be of a certain group of people. You had to have genes in you, a certain genes, which were sun genes. If you did not have these sun heat genes, then there was no way that you could survive on this planet, which is why now people who are 6 ether beings, meaning of your ethnical group, okay, not just you, but the Asians, okay, the Dravidians, the Caucasians, well, not the Caucasians, but the Dravidians, the Arabs, and the Mexicans, all right? You guys did not have these genes. This is why you burn under the sun. This is why, okay? It's not for me saying that you are a racist. It's not for me trying to be a racist. It's me giving you scientific facts, okay? You had to have these sun heat genes. We are the original beings on this planet, bro. we were developed in this planet. So I want you to get that out your head. I didn't say you was a lizard because first and foremost, you are not a draconian reptilian. Okay? When it comes to that perspective, bro, they're going to treat you just like they would treat any of us. You ain't no special.
That was the serpent. The serpent had nothing to do with a snake crawling on its belly and all this other crazy foolishness. When Enlil comes back, he obviously doesn't know this happened, which is interesting because I'm about to read some Bible quotes in a minute. He comes back and he realizes that something's changed with these two. They done woke up. Like they really woke up. They got on clothes. You know, they understand that they're who they are now. And so he gets pissed off. He gets pissed off at his brother because he realizes his brother spoke too much, right? He violated their little rule, right? You know, don't engage with them and give them the wisdom and knowledge of who they really are. Just masquerade as a god so he can keep them under control. So what he does is he kicks Adam and Eve out of the garden. The reason why he kicks them out is because if he leaves them in the laboratory, their consciousness is going to infect the other people that they have in there that are prisoners for mating purposes and experimental purposes. They're going to affect they're going to destroy the whole experiment. We got to get them out of here. They're dangerous to the experiment. We're trying to make a doggone working army of slaves here, and this guy's he's gonna send a conscious virus to every single one of these people, letting them know who they really are.
So now look, what I want you guys to understand is that what he's saying is that, okay, actually, Adam was given birth back through Enki and Enlil's sisters, all right? One of his sisters, which was a scientist, okay? She was one of the original scientists, all right? And so actually she took, because they were actually cloning these beings at first, but they could not survive because they didn't have the genes that would allow them to survive. So she actually took some genes out of them or whatever she did, but she actually gave birth to them herself. For 10 months, she had them in the womb and actually gave birth to them, to these beings herself, which was Adam. She gave the first birth to Adam, okay? And originally, these beings were supposed to be slave workers. They were supposed to be workers, because you have to understand that when these gods came down here, it was only to get the gold that was necessary to basically fix their atmosphere, because their atmosphere was tearing up because of what, the sun was slowly killing the atmosphere. Okay. And the only thing that could help their planet continue to sustain life would be the gold. So they actually came down here and found gold. They didn't have enough men to do the work themselves, so they created these group of beings. Okay. And so this comes from the Enuma Elish. This is what I'm trying to tell you. He's actually studied the tablets. Okay. And so during the period of time that this took place, when they give you the story of Adam and Eve and the Garden of Eden, okay, you have to understand that this was just a gated community, so to speak, that had armed guards around it so that no one else would enter. These was not the first group of people to ever be made on the planet. It was actually other people that lived on the planet. And this is why after Cain actually got rid of his brother Abel, he was able to then leave the garden and find his wife. All right. So with that being said, his brother, I think, who was Enki or Enlil, Enki, okay, who did not have the same man state as Enlil, because Enlil was more on the darker side of things, okay? He actually came into the garden and started to let them know who they were actually and how they were actually made. And this is the symbolism that they give you when they say that the snake came in and told Eve to eat from the tree of knowledge, okay? This was actually Enlil they were talking about. That was the serpent, okay? He came in and told her who she truly was and started to wake her up. And this is why they started to wear clothes and things like this, because he had a certain feeling toward humans, okay? He actually fell in love with a human. He had kids by one before, so on and so forth, okay? So with that being said, now I said the people that were actually living here outside of their community were us, the Elohim, the 9 ether beings, okay? The gods, we was already here, okay? So this is why he was able to leave, and he ran into our group of people, the Ethiopians, the Ether Utopians, okay, the Nubians at the time, which the word Nubia derives from actually means to be the light-giving, life-giving energies of the sun, okay? So I want to catch y'all up. I want y'all to get a full understanding of what it is that he is actually saying.
And they're not going to want to work for us anymore. Plus, they outnumber us.
So now we're at the point where he's saying, Enlil was mad because he felt like his brother was talking so much. He was talking too much when he came back. And this is why in the Bible, when they say God knows everything, but he hadn't known that they had eaten from this fruit of this tree of knowledge. It's because his brother came. They weren't actually who they telling you that they are, okay? So he came in, and when he found out what was going on, he had to kick them out, because he knew that if he didn't kick them out, they were going to go running their mouth to the other offsprings, because what they were doing was they were multiplying these soldiers, these workers. They were multiplying them, okay, so that they could do the work that was necessary to get as much gold as they could back on the ships to take to planet Nibiru. Okay, so they kicked Adam and Eve out of the garden because they didn't want them to basically give the knowledge of who they was and start to make other people start to wake up and know the truth.
So when they figure out that they have the power in them to do whatever they want, we're done. So that's why he kicked them out of the garden, right? And after he kicks them out, Adam tries to commit suicide a couple times right there in the river. It's all in the Apocrypha text. And so this is pretty incredible stuff that I'm telling you. And then you have their son of Enlil. The son of one of the sons of Enki, Amun-Ra. Yeah, Amun-Ra, one of the sons of Enki. who was ended up being very, very evil. Okay, like his uncle Enlil. So you have Amun Ra, you have Enlil, and you have Anu. These three people, those are three of the main characters that are being called God in the modern day Bible. A lot of their quotes and things that they've said in the ancient Sumerian tablets made it directly into the canonized Bible text, leaving a fingerprint behind saying, hey, that's them. That's not the creator of the universe. So we're going to go into this a little bit tonight. All right. I'm going to stop sharing my screen for a second because I want to read something to you real quick. We're going to come back to this PowerPoint in a minute. All right. Okay. Is everybody here with me? Y'all? Can you hear me good? Everything going good so far? Let me know in the chat if you guys are paying attention. Somebody say Christ is king. We're going to find out. Do you understand what Christ is? Christ is you. We're all Christ. And until you understand that, you're going nowhere. We are all the Christ. Jesus never said he was coming back. He said the Christ would return. And by that, he meant the consciousness, the Christ consciousness, the understanding of wisdom and ascension knowledge, who comes back and returns in every single person's mind. And by that method, the return is us. We are the second coming. Until you understand that, you're going nowhere. All right, good. I'm glad you guys are getting all this text. You're getting all the knowledge. You're getting the voice. That's great. Now, I'm going to read something for you guys real quick. Let me break open this.
Chico Calloway, no, these stories aren't all allegorical. These are true stories. For those of you who are just getting hit, you have to understand. I showed you what these clay tablets were, okay? The Enuma Elish, okay? Let me show them to y'all again, man. Okay, I'm going to show them to y'all again. These are real tablets. These are not fake tablets. Okay? These are not fake tablets. These were around during the time and period of the Samaritans, okay? And what these Samaritans, they wrote on these tablets to record the time that the Anunnaki gods were here. Okay, so if you look at this, okay, then you see these tablets. These are actually real tablets, okay? And this is why he was actually able to go over there and study. I know it's a glare from the ring, right, y'all? But this is real. The story that's being told here is real. It's not fake. Okay? This is the point that I'm trying to get y'all to understand.
This other window real quick. I'll read a couple of verses here. This is important stuff. Because I want to establish what Christians believe. They believe in these attributes of God. There's these God attributes, which I believe exist, but not for the people in the Bible. Not for the people being referenced in the Bible. But I believe these attributes are real. Let me make it clear. I'm not an atheist. I believe in a creator because I think that the quantum physics and quantum mechanics proves we're living in a creation. Now, what I'm telling you, though, is these attributes have been given to the God of the Bible, which is actually God's plural, and I'm going to show it to you in a minute. However, let's look at some of these attributes. Okay? Let me read for you a couple things here. God is infinite. This is an attribute. This is from BibleStudyTools.com. BibleStudyTools.com. This is what they're teaching in Bible study. And they're backing it up with biblical verses. Okay? I'm going to show you how the Bible contradicts itself. God is infinite. He is self-existing without origin.
Okay. So now what I want y'all to understand, what he's going to do is, okay, so the title of this video is it possible that the God of the Bible could really be Satan, okay? Could the God of the Bible really be Satan? That's the title, all right? So what he's going to do is he's going to basically delve into who it is that we really are serving, or those of you who actually, vibrate at the frequency of the Bible and you still read it and live on it, on a day-to-day basis. He's going to go into who it is that we're serving and his attributes and the traits, okay? Because in order to have a relationship with somebody, you have to know who it is that you're dealing with. And if you're reading the Bible every day, through reading the Bible should give you some form of insight of who it is that you say that you worship on a day-to-day basis. So he's going to let you know right here who it is that, you worship. And then it's up to us to make that decision. Could it be that the person that we're worshiping is not vibrating from the highest frequency in the universe, which is love, but they're vibrating from a lower frequency, which is more of an evil frequency, okay?
Colossians 1:17. And he is before all things, and in him all things hold together. Okay? God is infinite. He is self-existing without origin. God is immutable. He never changes. Remember this, what I'm telling you right now. God is immutable. He never changes. This is an important statement. I, the Lord, do not change. So you, the descendants of Jacob's, are not destroyed. Malachi 3:6. I, the Lord, do not change. God is specifically saying he doesn't change. And he's calling himself a he, and they're calling him a he. Anytime you attribute gender to a creator of a universe, there's a major problem. That should be the first red flag when you call them the creator of a universe by a gender. That's really not too good, in my opinion. Third thing, God is self-sufficient. He has no needs. Really? For as the Father has life in himself, so he hath granted the Son also have the life in himself. John 5:26. God is self-sufficient. He has no needs. He needs nothing. This is also important. Remember this. Remember what I just said here. These are all attributes being taught every single week in Bible study. God is omnipotent. He's all powerful. Really? By the word of the Lord, the heavens were made, their starry hosts by the breath of his mouth. Psalm 33:6. He's omnipotent, all powerful. All powerful. Another very important thing to remember. These are all important things to remember, what I'm telling you here. Make sure you remember these, because we're going to see some things that contradict every single one of these attributes. It doesn't make any sense to me. In the Bible, the same exact Bible where these verses came from. God is omniscient. He's all-knowing. Remember the former things, those of long ago. I am God, and therefore is no other. I am God, and there is none like me. He's all-knowing and omniscient. He says, from ancient times, what is still to come, I may. My purpose will stand, and I will do all that I please. Isaiah 46, 9 through 10. Okay. God is omniscient, which means he knows everything. Okay. He knows everything. He didn't know his brother was talking to Adam and Eve just a minute ago in the book of Genesis. He didn't even know that till he arrived. But he knows everything. God is omnipresent. He is also everywhere. Now you see, that's true. The real God, but not the one in the Bible. You know why God is everywhere? Because every atom in your body it contains the spark of the creation. So every single person, every single atom and everything, which means the table, this microphone, my computer, the room I'm in, the house I'm in, the carpet I'm sitting on, everything here has atoms, which means it's all God. Everything is God. And by that method, God is everywhere. But they're referencing it as this omnipresent being called he with gender that seems to just be everywhere. Interesting. Psalms 139, 7 through 10 will tell you that statement. God is wise. He's full of perfect, unchanging wisdom. Remember this, unchanging. It never changes. Romans 11:33. Oh, the depths of the riches, both the wisdom and the knowledge of God. How unsearchable are his judgments and how unfathomable his ways. Romans 11:33. Remember these now. Remember these attributes, guys. God is faithful. He is infinitely, unchangingly true. Know therefore that the Lord your God is God. He's a faithful God, keeping his covenant of love to 1,000 generations of those who love him and keep his commandments. Deuteronomy 7:9. Well, we're going to be looking into Deuteronomy real soon here. You get the idea? You understand where I'm going with this? I hope you guys remember these great attributes. These are phenomenal attributes. God is good. He's infinitely unchanging, kind, and full of goodwill. Okay. Oh, taste and see that the Lord is good. Psalm 34:8. Okay. All right. That's interesting. Now,
Jerry Tate, we finna most definitely get into Jesus over here, okay? We gonna get into Jesus. Don't worry about that, okay? Because I see you say you believe in Jesus, not religion, okay? So we gonna tell you in this lab who exactly Jesus was. Because I told you guys on several occasions that when you talk about Jesus, you really worshiping Zeus. Hey, Zeus. Okay? So we gonna get into that.
we got some attributes that I've just given you. It's a pretty good attribute. I gotta admit, these attributes will make me jump up and want to scream for joy, right? Until we start getting into this Bible and start reading it, and then everything falls apart. Until we get into this thing and start reading it, and it all crumbles. Is there good stuff in the Bible that you can use in your life? Yes, I do not deny that. There's good stuff you can use from a lot of places. But you have to understand when you're going and relying on your eternity based off of this information that you don't even understand or know about, that's a big question mark. So we're going to dig in a little bit to the Gnostics and what they believe and what they had to say. Pretty interesting stuff here. Let me go back into my screen. We're going to go back in one more time.
Hey, Royal Gillison, you smart. You smart, y'all. Check out what Royal Gillison said. She said Jesus mean Hail Zeus. This goddess know what she's talking about. This goddess is on point right here. Okay, I see you.
So this is Amun-Ra, one of the biggest culprits that's been quoted. His quotes have made it into the Bible so many times. We're going to go over some of his stuff. This guy here was pure evil, pure unadulterated evil. Every time you say amen, you're giving thanks to this guy. This is the guy that ordered amen to be a statement. Of course, it used to be Amun, but over time it became amen. But he said, when you give thanks for anything, you say my name at the end. You're giving thanks to this guy, the most brutal ruler of all time. And then you're calling on the name of Jesus, which has no power whatsoever. Jesus means hail Zeus. Okay, that's what it
Royal, you hit it on the head, Reflection.
actually means. The guy's name is really Yeshua, which translates into Joseph. It's not even close to this Asus because the J was recently added within the last 100 years. The J was just added to the name. It was Asus, and that Isus, and that means Hail Zeus. Has nothing to do with calling on the creator of the universe. That's why when people call on the name of Jesus, nothing happens. Now, Gnosticism. Interesting. Gnosticism is the belief that human beings contain a piece of God, the highest good, or a divine
Fact, Zeus was most definitely evil.
spark.
As a matter of fact, Zeus was the equivalent to Satan, okay?
Through 29. If a man is caught in the act of being a young woman who is not engaged, he must pay 50 pieces of silver to her father. Then he must marry the young woman. Oh, wait a minute.
Now look, I want y'all to understand what he's talking about right now. Right now he's going into the fact of is that the God of the Bible, okay, that we were originally told that we should be worshiping, okay? He said that it was okay to go and basically RAPE a woman, okay? And then if you did that, then not only should you, after you did it, you should pay her father 50 coins, but then you should marry her, okay? This is what the God of the Bible is saying. He's saying that it's okay to RAPE women, okay? And then afterwards, you need to go give her father 50 coins and marry her after you already done took it, okay? So you have to understand, when we talk about it was a situation that took place like this, if I'm not mistaken, between one of the two gods, okay, that happened back on their home planet, Nibiru, when they took something from somebody. They ultimately sent him to jail, but he was let go. He had to pay his father and then end up having to basically marry the woman that he took it from, okay? So this was a part of their heritage. This is something that they did, okay? And I apologize if I'm passionate, y'all. So if I'm yelling a little bit too loud, it's because I'm passionate.
Oh man, thank you, God. You mean if I rape a woman and I could pay a couple shekels, then I can go ahead and have her as my wife if I decide to? Oh man, thank you. You know, I appreciate that. Ain't he good all the time? He's so good. Won't he do it? Won't he do it? If a man is caught in the act of raping a young woman who is not engaged, he must pay 50 pieces of silver to her father. Then he must marry the young woman because he has violated her. Oh, you got to marry her now. You're going to be abducted and everything. And he will never be allowed to divorce her. Oh, man, you got to keep her forever. But you can still cheat on her, though. Don't worry about that. We got.
Now, what makes you think if she didn't want you to have it to begin with, that she wants to marry you after you took it? Can somebody explain that to me? Drop them nines if y'all feel me. Okay? What makes you think if this woman didn't want you to have her cookies to begin with and you come along and take them, that she wants to be married to you? So she's being forced into being married to you just the way she was being forced to give you what she didn't want you to have to begin with. Do it make sense? Do it make sense?
With your concubines and all that, you know. What kind of lunatic would make a victim marry the attacker? But you remember the attributes that I read to you when we started this video. All of a sudden, these attributes they are not in alignment. We're talking about people here. We're not talking about gods or the God. Ex-slaves. Exodus 21, 7 through 11. When a man sells his daughter as a slave. Let me read that again. When a man sells his daughter as a slave. This is in your Bible that you never read about. You know why? Because you're lazy. When a man sells his daughter as a slave, she will not be freed at the end of 6 years as the men are. You can sell your son as a slave too, but in 6 years he can be freed. You need a couple dollars? Hey, have some kids.
So you mean to tell me it's cool for you to sell the God of the Bible is saying that you could sell your son as a slave? Someone that he created, okay? Someone that said it's supposed to be a loving God. He's telling you to go ahead. If you broke, just sell your son, bro. Okay, sell him for a couple coins. Why not? You have another one.
They're worth a lot of money. If she does not please the man who bought her, he may allow her to be bought back again. But he is not allowed to sell her to foreigners. Don't sell her to foreigners now. Don't be selling to foreigners. Don't do that. Okay? Since he is the only one who broke the contract with her. And if the slave girl's owner arranges for her to marry his son, he may no longer treat her as a slave girl.
Okay, let's pause this. He said that is the wrong interpretation. It's because of the sins of men. This is what Christina L. Ramos says. She said that is the wrong interpretation. It is because of the sins of man, which is why God had to instruct. Hold on. Which is why God had to instruct men wrongdoing to correction, i.e., which is why today men get sued because of SEXUAL harassment. Okay, but Christina L. Ramos, he's reading directly from the Bible, okay? And what he's trying to basically tell you is that the God that you think that you serve and is supposed to be the God of creation is not, okay? This is not the God in the Bible that is the God that created everything, okay? It's actually Zeus. It's actually one of these satanic beings that came along that wanted you to believe that they were gods and to worship them, okay? Because you have to understand, when you deal with the Anunnaki gods, bro, you have to understand that it's a dual nature to everything, y'all. Meaning it's two sides. It's a polarity, all right? Which means that in every group of people, it's always going to be a good and a bad person, okay? We have the so-called white man being called the devil, okay? When in all actuality, we have the so-called black man who will be considered black devils as well. It's a dual nature. It's always going to be good and bad, okay? So with the Anunnaki, it was agreeables and it was disagreeables. Some of them was good, some of them was bad. Not all of them was good. You might run up to a spaceship and say, "Oh, my brother," not knowing if it was Inky's or Enlil child, and they might knock your head right off your shoulders because you was misinformed. You thought that all of them was meant to be here for you and to save you. Okay?
He must treat her as his daughter. If he himself marries her, you can marry the slave too. If he himself marries her and then takes another wife, and they got a poly going on over here, he may not reduce her food or clothing or fail to sleep with her as his wife. If he fails in any of these ways, she may leave as a free woman without making any payment. Oh, so nice of you. Oh, Lord, so nice. God assists in plunder. Zechariah 14, 1 and 2. Lo, a day shall come for the Lord when the spoil shall be divided in your midst, and I will gather all the nations against Jerusalem for battle. Really, why would you do that? Because they don't want to believe in your foolishness? The city shall be taken, houses plundered, women ravished. That's the green light for rape. So God is saying,
hey,
the women.
I got something. Look, we're going to touch on this. Miko Trevino said that was the Old Testament. We're going to talk about the New Testament. We're going to get into that, Makito. We most definitely going to get into that.
Going to be ravished. I'm going to allow you. I approve the rape of these women. Guys, when we go in for this mission, I want you to rape these women. But you remember the attributes that I read in the beginning. Do you remember those attributes I read to you? Yeah. Won't he do it? He doing it all right. Seemed like he like a lot of rape. Half the city shall go into exile, but the rest of the people shall not be removed from the city. Slavery in the Bible. I got a big problem with this. Slavery is approved by everybody, even Jesus. The following passage shows that slaves are clearly property to be bought and sold like livestock. However, you may purchase a male or female slave from among the foreigners who live among you. You may also purchase the children of such resident foreigners, including those who have been born in your land. You may treat them as your property, passing them on to your children. Oh, we're working on legacy now. They building legacy back in the day. I see what they're up to. They're trying to build a legacy. Oh, you pass it on to your children as a permanent inheritance. Oh, how nice. You may treat your slaves like this. But the people of Israel, your relatives, must never be treated this way. Oh, now you see what's going on with the people in Israel killing the people that are on the Gaza Strip, the Palestinians. You see what's happening? They believe in this book, what I'm reading you right now, word for word. They believe in this information I'm reading you today, word for word, still to this very day. And they're out there with sniper guns, popping kids as they play soccer in the park. The Palestinian kids as they play soccer. They're going and robbing them and stealing their homes and taking their homes away. Right now, while I'm sitting here reading to you, these people are living in turmoil by the big Christian land, the Christians, the greatest Christians on earth over there in Israel, all right? That we got to give $200 million a day to and all this other foolishness. Well, these people believe in this stuff word for word. The following passage describes how Hebrew slaves are to be treated. If you buy a Hebrew slave, that's a black man, he's to serve for only 6 years. Set him free in the 7th year, and he will owe you nothing for his freedom. But if he is single when he became your slave, and then married afterward, only he will go free in the 7th year. Oh, sorry, if your wife, she got to stay. We need to keep her a little bit longer. You know what I'm saying? We need to keep her. She got some work to do around here. Interesting. But if it was,
and we already knew what that was for. They wanted to keep the women because the woman is the one who breeds. She's the one who's going to be able to make them more slaves. As long as they have her, then the possibility of them having to buy more slaves will be slim. And then she's going to have them and she's going to mold them. Okay? This is why I say, man, black people, man, if you still at this point, man, believe in the Bible and you worship in the Bible, and this is what the slave masters use to basically keep you into slavery and RIPE, our ancestors' wives and so on and so forth, you a fool. You a fool. You got to be the dumbest MFer Jesus died for. Okay? I say that because this is the same doctrine that was used to keep us in a state of amnesia, and the same doctrine that the slave masters used to justify their actions when it came to taking down mothers out of the home and basically separating them from the child and selling them, okay? This is the same doctrine that was used for them to justify the reasons why they came into that house and took the wives out and RAPE them in front of their husbands, and they could do nothing about it, okay? This is the same doctrine. Not to mention, it's the same doctrine that the British used when they came over and they colonized over 80% of the world, okay? They use this same doctrine. It's no coincidence that after they beat you, separated you from your children, they and took your language from you, they gave you the Holy Bible. We've been so indoctrinated, we still putting our faith in the Holy Bible. We ain't even went back into our natural roots yet. None of us have even taken the steps to find out who it is that we are truly supposed to be worshiping, if we are worshiping anybody outside of ourselves. Okay? This is the point that I'm trying to make. But a lot of people going to let that go over their head. You feel what I'm saying?
Before he became a slave, then his wife would be freed with him. If his master gave him a wife while he was a slave, and he had sons or daughters, then the man will be free in the 7th year, but his wife and children will still belong to the master. You can't go nowhere. You free, but guess what? We're going to hold on to this family just a little bit longer. But the slave may plainly declare, I love my master, my wife, and my children. I would rather not go free. Of course he wouldn't. If he does this, his master must present him before God. Then his master must take him to the door and publicly pierce his ear with an awl. After that, the slave will belong to his master forever. You see?
Look at what I'm saying. Look. It makes no sense.
Where slavery came from in America, you see how they, and all over in Europe and all through the Caribbean, they believed this word for word. They took these verses and said, oh, we're allowed to have these slaves. This is normal. This is natural. They're not even human beings. We can do with them as we please. We can rape them. Why do you think these slave masters used to rape the women all the damn time? They were going from this book right here. This book gave them the green light to do all this foolishness. And your omniscient and your omnipotent God that you claim did nothing about it. Not one stinking thing. Jesus approved slaves. You would think that Jesus and the New Testament would have a different view of slavery, because it's supposed to be a new day. It's a new dawn, a new day. But slavery is still.
Stephen Walker, we're gonna most definitely get into that. He said he wondered if Moses in the Bible was inky. We're gonna get into that, God.
Approved in the New Testament, as the following passages will show. Slaves, obey your earthly masters with deep respect and fear. Serve them sincerely as you would serve Christ. Ephesians 6:5.
And now look, this is the same thing that they got your preachers or the slave masters, preachers, the other slaves who would consider themselves to be preachers, to come into the cotton fields and preach to you as you worked the fields and was being hit with the cracker. As you was being cracked on your back with the whip. They had the same minister saying, obey your slave master. Fear him. Okay? And we still go to church every day and read from the Bible. Okay? It's crazy.
Won't he do it? Christians who are slaves should give their masters full respect so that the name of God and his teaching will not be shamed. If your master is a Christian, that is no excuse for being disrespectful. You should work all the harder because you are helping another believer by your efforts. Teach these truths, Timothy, and encourage everyone to obey them. Timothy 6:1.
This sounds like somebody trying to indoctrinate a group of people who are, I would say, for lack of better words, a group of stupid people who lack the understanding to know what is going on. It's easy for you to indoctrinate a group of people with something that they know nothing of, okay? We didn't believe in this to begin with. So when you come along and you have a group of people that's in a position where they need something to believe in, and then you say, take this Bible to believe in, listen to what the Lord Almighty says, okay? A book that was actually written by not God himself, not the Almighty, the Creator, the Most High, but written by people who believed in slaves doing the work for them, who didn't look at everyone as an equal.
And 2. Yeah, that's your New Testament. Because people go, in the New Testament, everything changed. No, it didn't. It's the same old crap, different day. Where do you think slavery came from? Worldwide slavery of people, enslaving other people. human beings enslaving other human beings. It came from this text right here. The green light was given through this text. This is what you ain't learning in Bible study. The servant will be severely punished, for though he knew his duty, he refused to do it. But people who are not aware that they are doing wrong will be punished only lightly. Much is required from those whom much is given. You always use that, you always hear that term, but you don't hear the rest of it. And much is more required from those of whom is more is given. Luke 12:47. Murder's been approved. Here's the murder approved. Capital punishment. Capital punishment. Kill people who don't listen to priests. Don't talk to them and try to convince them. Don't work things out. If you think if you have the slightest thought.
That's sort of like what we're going through right now in this conscious community, right? They saying that anyone who goes against whatever that they would deem the right knowledge, okay, is going to be basically considered an enemy of the state. You feel what I'm saying? Or enemy of the country. This is happening in Australia. And also at this point, I just seen other labs over here with people saying that it was other people that are actually, our governors are actually forming a task, okay? A task of people to basically govern over the people who are doing what I'm doing right now. And the people who doing what you doing right now. Just sound like that.
This guy might not want to get in line with us. Just kill him. Anyone arrogant enough to reject the verdict of the judge or of the priest who represents the Lord your God must be put to death. Such evil must be purged from Israel. More Deuteronomy. Kill witches. How do you know they're a witch? Just guess. You should not let a sorceress live. Anybody who probably just doesn't believe in their foolishness has got to be a witch. Get rid of them. Kill homosexuals. If a man lies with a male as a woman, both of them shall be put to death for their abominable deed. They have forfeited their lives. All right? Doesn't sound like any of the stuff that I talked about in the beginning with all these great, phenomenal, beautiful attributes of the creator of the universe. It doesn't match. That's why I'm telling you, there is a creator of the universe, but the people in the Bible, and I do mean people, that ain't them. It ain't it. Kill non-believers. They entered into a covenant to seek the Lord, of their fathers, with all their heart and soul, and everyone who would not seek the Lord of the God of Israel was put to death, whether small or great, whether man or woman, killing women, killing children, killing whoever. You don't fall in line, you're dead. Chronicles 15:12. Kill false prophets. If a man prophesies, his parents, father, and mother shall say to him, you shall not live. Or your mother got to tell you, you're about to die. Because you have spoken a lie in the name of the Lord. When he prophesies, his parents, father, and mother shall thrust him through. Your own parents got to take you out. Or they're going to get killed too, right? And burn in the lake of fire and all this other crazy foolishness. Kill the entire town if one person worships another god. This doesn't match with the attributes that I've been telling you about. I'm telling you, this is not the Lord God. This is the devil himself. This is the evil energy that's flowing through this book, which is why it's been used to commit so much egregious crimes. Look at all the wars on this planet. Look at all the slavery on this planet. Look at all the politic on this planet, which is a religion. It's all coming out of this book. They all call in this Bible as their saving grace as to why they're doing what they're doing. Suppose you're here in one of the towns that the Lord your God is giving you, that some worthless rabble among you have led their fellow citizens astray by encouraging them to worship a foreign god. In such cases, you must examine the facts carefully. If you find it's true and can prove that such a detestable act has occurred among you, you must attack that town and completely destroy all of its inhabitants, as well as all of the livestock. Kill the animals too, damn it. Then you must pile all the plunder in the middle of the street and burn it. Put the entire town to the torch. Kill everybody. Just burn everybody down. Just kill it all. And give it as a burnt offering to the Lord your God. You see the foolishness here, guys? That's Deuteronomy 13:13 through 19.
I feel like in every situation, man, we should be using discernment, okay? Even when it comes to the book that we're reading right now, okay? Even when it comes to the Bible, we should always be using discernment, because when you're seeking the truth, you have to be a detective. You have to be a detective. We know that it's so much that has been taken out of the Bible, okay? Because they don't want us to, first and foremost, know who we are, right? So they took so much out of the Bible. With that being said, then we most definitely have to be detectives. We most definitely know that the Bible was rewritten because of that.
More rape and baby killing. Anyone who's captured will be run through with a sword. Their little children will be dashed to death right before their eyes. I thought the attributes was like love and kindness and faithful. This is never changing God. Yeah. I'm starting to believe they're never changing as I look at all these people getting killed all around the world right now. Their homes will be sacked and their wives will be raped by the attacking hordes. For I will stir up the Medes against Babylon, and no amount of silver or gold will buy them off. The attacking armies will shoot down the young people with arrows. They will have no mercy on helpless babies and will show no compassion for the children. Isaiah 13:15 through 18. So what we've come to here, I'm going to stop sharing this and I'm going to come back to this. What we've come to here is an understanding that you guys have been misled in a very severe way, in a way that has poisoned the minds of billions of people on this planet. There's 8.5 billion people on Earth, and 85% of these people are religious. Thank you for all the donations, by the way. And these people are taking this information. Well, they're not taking this information because they don't study it, because they ain't taught it. That's why when you used to go to church, when you were in slavery times, the slave master would sit there and tell you exactly what verses you can read and what verses you can't read. And he would sit there with his gun or his whip waiting for you to mess up, only give them these certain verses. And those same exact teachings have been passed down from generation to generation to generation.
It was all about control. That's what it was all about.
Why? Because they don't want you to hear what I just read to you. That is not, those what I read were not attributes of the creator of the universe that I believe in at all. Not even close. Not even close. What I read to you were Anunnaki Atlantean people fighting each other, using human beings as cattle. Hey man, I'm sick and tired of them over there. They're impringing on my land now. I want y'all to go over there and kill them people. No, I know you want to. Don't worry about what they did. They sinned against me. I want y'all to go kill them people. And when you get done killing them, if you find any virgins, you can make sure you take the virgins with you, because we got to make more babies. I need more slaves over here, man. We running low on slaves. You see what's happening? That's not the creator of the universe. That is a human being called an Atlantean Anunnaki, a Homo sapien, I should say, not a human being, but a Homo sapien, masquerading as a god, telling you people what to do, and run and go do this, and you run and go do that, thus saith I, and you people run out and go do this foolishness. And you're still doing the same garbage still to this very day. Running around, committing egregious acts against people based off of what's in this book that you know nothing about. Nothing about. Let me tell you what the Nag Hammadi said. Let me tell you what they said. And it's the same hypothesis I came to. And I'm going to tell you in a story that actually happened to me in real time, in real life. I was sitting at the beach and this guy walked up to me. And I knew right away when he walked up with a bottle of water and handed it, like pointed it towards me, he was going to ready to preach to me. It's the technique they use at this beach I go to. Sometimes you're just sitting there, somebody walks up and they come up to you and they try to hand you some water. He must have thought I was one of these homeless people out there or something, just, sitting on the beach. Because I was fully dressed. I wasn't like in beach clothes. I even had my sneakers on because I was going for a walk. I just decided to take a quick break and sit at the edge of the water for a few minutes, just enjoy the beauty, and then go back and finish my walk. So I'm sitting there in regular clothes. And I said, oh boy, here we go. I'm going to let him go ahead and talk. He started trying to preach to me. Did you take Jesus Christ as your Lord and Savior and all this other stuff, yada, yada, yada. And I said, no. He goes, why not? You know the power of the Lord. I said, listen. The reason why is because I am God. The guy jumped back. Whoa. I said, yeah, I'm God, and you're God too. We're all God. Every single one of us is God. walking in the flesh, trying to learn what it is to experience life in the third dimension. So the guy tries to go back in. He tries to start telling me more stuff. So I started asking him stuff about the Bible. I said,
This is the point he's trying to make, Shantae Morgan. He's trying to say that some of these beings that we're talking about, you have to understand that Enlil is a whole different person than Enki. Enki was more heartfelt. Enki was pure D evil. I mean, Enlil was pure D evil. So he's telling you that right now. Okay? We have to understand that the Anunnaki, bro, is good and evil. As above, so below. As within, so without. You have to understand that.
Make a long story short about this. I said, you know what? Tell me all about this Satan entity that's in the Bible. This devil, Satan, the devil. Tell me all about him. Okay? He says, well, he's evil. He was a second hand to God at one point. He's there's nobody smarter than him other than God. He was a right hand, and he's not even an angel. He's a cherubim, and everywhere he went, music followed him. He was a genius, and blah 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 blah, and he's got all these powers and so forth and so on. I said, oh, interesting. That's interesting. Pretty smart guy, huh? Yeah. Oh yeah. So wow, that's why you need salvation. You have to. Oh, okay, I get it. Okay, so you're saying that this entity has a high IQ then, really, really high, higher than any human. Oh, yes. Oh, absolutely. This guy is a genius. Oh, really? Okay, genius. Well, answer me this then. So in the Bible that you got in your hand, what happens to this being? Oh, he commits these acts that are all prophesied in this book, and at the end, he's cast into a lake of fire for all eternity. I said, really? Okay. This is interesting stuff you're telling me. And I said, so this being with this super high intelligence that's almost on the same level of God, it has all this power and everything else, and it can go around the planet and be in everybody's mind all at once, and has all these amazing powers and can do all this amazing stuff. He's going to follow the prophecies written by flesh and blood human beings on a piece of paper to his own demise. Oh, yes, it is. Yes. I'm sorry, man. I don't believe that. What more than likely is happening is that entity that you're running from is the one that orchestrated the way this text and this book is put together, so that you can run to your own demise. In the end, what's happening is you're following and worshiping the same entity and demon that you're running from. The guy's eyes got wide. Oh, snap. I don't know. This guy's scaring me. Gotta walk away. That's what the Gnostics talk about in the Nag Hammadi. They believe the same exact thing. Matter of fact, they're spot on. What Christians are doing,
they get on that Chase Gross. Chase Gross say he keep getting kicked out. They be on that, bro, because they know the more people in here, the more sharing, the more liking that's going on, the more it's going to get pushed to the algorithm. You know what I'm saying? The more this message is going to reach other people.
Is unwittingly being fooled and tricked into literally saying and praying to the same entities that have nothing to do with salvation. Zeus, Amun-Ra, Enlil, Anu, Enki, Marduk. These are all the beings that they're calling on their names. Great Yahweh Jehovah. You're calling on two different gods at once then. In the name of Jesus, you're calling on Zeus. It's pure ignorance that has led you to your own demise. And then you have this situation where you'll see one person, oh, I just got approved for my mortgage. I just got a brand new house. Won't he do it? God is good all the time. And then right around the corner, there's a kid sleeping on the street. But he's not worthy to have a house, right? Because God is only good to you. Do you see the logic in that? Do you see the ignorance in that? If you're in America, you hit the genetic lottery. You're sitting in I'm sitting in a house in America where I can literally find many ways to earn myself a living.
We're going to get into reincarnation, Tamara. We most definitely going to get into reincarnation. We're going to do that on the YouTube channel, though. Facts.
Many ways to have a decent lifestyle. Even if I'm in a small apartment with no car and just taking a bicycle to work, I can still have a decent life. I've been around this planet. I've been to third world countries. The majority of the countries I go to are overlaid, heavy, super, super duper Christians. I'm talking about they live in it day and night and day. They breathe in it, eating it, sleeping it 24 hours a day. and they're living in mud and dirt, and they have a horrible life. They don't even live that long. They die young. And then you have the people over here. Won't he do it? I just got me a brand new car. That's because the power of God is on me. Really? The power of God's on you. God stopped creating another planet and said, you know what? Hey, this Sally Mae over there, she need a new car. Let me stop what I'm doing right here and go get this car for Sally Mae. But this kid over here that's been suffering his whole life over here in Abydos, in Egypt, I'm just going to leave him alone. I saw this kid wandering through the streets of Abydos, 3 or 4 year old kid, screaming and crying, walking through the streets for hours. Nobody even looked at him. He probably just came from a collapsed building because those buildings collapse every minute. His mother's probably just died. But he's not blessed because he didn't follow the right God. He didn't say the right prayer. But you just magically knew the right one, right? Somebody gets into a car accident, they live. It was God. God saved him. They die. It was his time to go. Lord called him home. Foolishness. That's just fabricated foolishness, guys. Is what you're doing. You're just fooling yourself. You're fooling yourself into believing fairy tales. You have no understanding of what this information contained in this Bible really is all about, who wrote it, and when it was written. The Bible wasn't written in real time. The people in the Bible didn't write the Bible. The disciples were illiterate men. If you went to seminary, you would know that. I've studied all the seminary texts. They were illiterate.
We got to study to show ourselves approved. Notice what he said. He said, see, we've been taught that the people in the Bible wrote the Bible when in fact he studied it, right? And he's telling you that through his studies and observation, you have to understand that's all science is. Science is the study of something through observation, right? Okay. And so through his studies, he was able to learn that the disciples was all illiterate. There was no way that they could have written the Bible because they didn't know how to read nor write. That was another lie.
They couldn't even read or write. So who wrote the text? Who wrote Timothy? Who wrote all these books? Who wrote John? Who wrote all these books? Who wrote them? Guess what, guys? They were written long after they were dead. Thousands of years, 2,000 years after they died. The first book was discovered. Well, the first text was discovered in caves around 100 AD. It wasn't even a book, just some text and some.
Hey, look, you're going to take it how you want to take it. If you want to call it a religious insult, that just says that, guess what? You're still in the matrix, God. I really don't like to say that, but guess what? You still caught up in the matrix, bro, because you looking at it as a religious insult instead of looking at it as like the right knowledge. The whole time, throughout the whole video, I've been telling you that the Bible has certain good things in it and it don't. But guess what? They were able to control you, to be able to lead you through the wrong path, through the misinterpretation of the word that was written in the Bible. But that went over your head, man. It went over your head. You still stuck into believing that religion is everything when it's nothing but something for you to rely on. Something that takes the power that you have in yourself away from you.
Jars. And then some more jars were found in some more caves, and some more caves, and some more caves, and some more stuff was dug up over time. Between 100 AD to 900 AD, all this text was laying around and started being pieced together. 100 AD to 900, that's modern times. And what was on the text? They had handwritten copies from ancient Sumerian tablets, from the Mahabharata, from the Bhagavad Gita, from the Epic of Gilgamesh, from the Tibetan Book of the Dead, from the Egyptian Book of the Dead, from all these other texts that already had been here, from the Emerald Tablets of Thoth. That's where all this information comes from. And plus something from, of course, their own input. Because if I put 50 people in a circle and I sit here and we're all sitting in a circle, perfect circle, and I whisper into one person's ear one sentence, 5 or 6 words, and they're supposed to then turn and whisper and whisper and whisper and whisper till it gets back to my opposite ear. Guess what? It ain't gonna be the same sentence I said. The sentence is gonna change. I guarantee you it won't be the same.
Bro, we do know who wrote them. We know that the Vatican rewrote the Bible, man. Okay? We know that the Vatican, Kareem Boyd, we know who wrote it. God, the Vatican rewrote it. The Pope. Okay? The Catholic Church. They rewrote the Bible, the Pope. Everything that's missing is in the Vatican. It's downstairs under the building. Okay? In their library. Something that you will never find. But what this whole video is telling you for those who are on this lab that wants to be enlightened, okay, is basically just saying that what you thought that was the beginning of the Bible that came from God, it did not come from them. It was written, it come from these tablets called the Enuma Elish, okay? And the stories that you see was taken from these tablets and mistranslated and put into the Bible as a way to control you and to make you believe something. In order for you to get your freedom back, you need to first remember who you are. Okay? If you want your power back, you got to know who you are. Going out and riding and stuff like that ain't going to do nothing for you. You got to remember who you are.
Exact sentence. That's the nature of humanity. Everything is corrupted once a man touch it. Everything is corrupted once a man touch it. So you're telling me that this Satan, the devil, this master wizard of all time, who can whisper in the ears of billions of people simultaneously and make them do evil things, is literally going to follow everything written in this book, written by men, to his own demise. By the way, he has a gender too, because he's always called a he. He also has a gender. It's also another male energy to his own demise. And that's going to be, I'm just going to follow the rule of this book, guys. I'm just here to follow the rule of this book and be as evil as I can until it's over. No life preservation for me. I don't want to preserve myself at all, guys. I'm just going to follow what you men wrote in this book. I'm going to listen to this. Come on, man. Use some logic. Did you read the attributes did you listen to the attributes I gave you in the beginning of this whole thing? Omniscient, omnipotent, all-knowing, never changing. So what changed between that teaching and those Bible verses and what I just read you? It's the same person. It's the same entity. What you're doing, guys, is you're following the evil energy the whole way through, convincing yourself that you're following positive energy when you're not. You're following ultimate evil. Get the Nag Hammadi scripts and do yourself a favor. Start studying. Get your Bible out and start studying. Start reading and researching the information in the Bible.
Go get the right knowledge. We need to make sure that we getting the right knowledge, y'all. Because until you do, then you're going to not only continue to be led astray, but you're going to lead your children astray, which is furthermore going to enable them to lead their children astray. And then we always going to be caught up in the same cycle. We're in the age of Aquarius right now. We're in the age of information, the age of knowledge. It's right there in front of your face. The age of the awakening. This is why so many people are starting to seek this knowledge, starting to ask questions, and not only starting to ask questions, but starting to do the digging that's necessary to begin to find out who they are, to become as powerful as they know that they are.
Well, but not just reading from the Bible. Break it down into ancient texts and find out where the sources of the material came from, and then study and read that. If you're based entirely off of one book and you don't even understand what's in the book, then what are you really doing? You're just wasting time. And then you're passing that garbage on to your kids, and they're passing it on to their kids, and everybody's ignorant because they have no idea what they're doing. They think, oh, I'm just going to do it as a safe thing, just in case I want to go to heaven or I don't want to go to hell, just in case it's real. Just in case. There is no love in torture and threat and fear. So if you are a Christian and you are worrying about going to hell and you're trying to be good not to go to hell, what you have is not love. What you have is fear. And the reason why you're participating is because you want to save your own ass. That's what you're doing. You want to save the skin of your ass. That's what you want to admit it. That's what it's all about. What if this fire is really real? What if this lake of fire really exists? I better do this garbage, because if I don't, I might just burn anyway. That's what it comes down to. And if you're operating from that, there's no love in that. It's only fear. Only fear. Period. Fear allows you to be controlled. What the majority of the Bible is, and there's some good parts in there, but the majority of it is just like watching CNN or Fox News. Nothing but fear 24/7 to bend you down and mold you over and get you in that low frequency mindset so that nothing works out in your favor. If you don't believe it, I want you to get together 10,000, get together me, 1,000,000 Christians in one place and have them start praying, and let me see if the world will change the next day. It's going to be the same planet we on. The same people are going to run out and start shooting their guns and killing people. Ain't nothing going to change. You know why? Because they're praying deaf ears. They don't know how to pray. Prayer works, but not the way that you're praying. If I take you and connect a cap to your head with electrodes on it and connect that cap to a computer to read your brain waves, an EEG. I can read an EEG on your brain and see how your waves are functioning. I can tell you if you're in a low frequency state or a high frequency state based off of your brain waves. If you're in an emotion of fear, doubt, anguish, begging, which is praying, the typical person begs when they pray. That's low frequency.
How many times have I said this? How many times have I said this? Now, we just showed a video yesterday with the guy talking about how the light emits from your thoughts. But on several occasions, I've told you this. I said, look, man, we need to understand anytime we angry, sad, argumentative, we doing something that's not from a positive standpoint, it puts us at a state of mind, a state of negative vibration. It puts us at a low vibrational frequency. And in order to manifest our realities, in order to pull the things in that we want in our lives, we need to maintain that state of positivity at all times. I don't care if, like I said, I don't care if you're walking down the street, somebody clock you in the back of your head. After you get done handling your business, because we ain't letting nobody do that to us, right? After you get done handling your business, you need to make sure you going home, getting your sage, cleansing your energy, and bringing your frequencies back up. You need to make sure you starting back to think positive, to speak positive, and put that law of action in behind it in order to move in a positive manner so that you can manifest whatever it is that you want to have. Okay? We never seen nobody manifest things from a standpoint of being sad, angry, moping. Why? Because they too busy laying in the bed, pushing it off, saying that they're going to do it another day because they're not vibrating at a high frequency. It's important that we watch the people. Not only do we watch the people that we allow in our lives, but we watch the conversations we have, the music we listen to, the television shows that we watch, the news that we read. I don't even watch the news. I don't even watch the TV. It's considered to be a boob tube to me. Okay? I would rather build my brain by reading and meditating, and I would rather do those type of things than to indulge myself in the things that's not going to serve me any purpose. You feel me? Kareem Boyd said, yeah, God, he facts. Manifestation can come from meditation because we hold in that thought, right? And we visualizing what it is that we want to have. You have to understand that everything starts from a thought. Everything, this whole world or this universe that we live in was manifested first from a thought. He visualized it first. Then he spoke it. Okay? Because we know it's a power in the tongue. He spoke it. And when he was speaking it, everything that he was speaking was action behind that. Okay? And it came into fruition.
Now, if I take you with that same exact technology connected to a computer and to read your brain waves, and I have you in a position of upright power, understanding, commanding, unconditional love, happiness. Now it's going to be high frequency waves going to the computer. The universe reads waves, low frequency and high frequency. It knows low and high. And guess what? It's going to give you back whatever you give it. You're running around here begging and pleading and hoping and wishing and scrapping around. You're going to get the same kind of garbage back in your life until you stand up and draw a line in the sand and command your existence.
That's the law of attraction.
Command your potential. Command who you
want. Which is another.
And then right around the corner, there's a kid.
Which is another universal law, right? The law of attraction.
Right. Prayer works, but not the way that you're praying. Drive safely? No, that's a slave's mentality. I'm not a slave. Now it's going to be high frequency waves going to the computer. The universe reads waves, low frequency and high frequency. It knows low and high. And guess what? It's going to give you back whatever you give it. You're running around here begging and pleading and hoping and wishing and scrapping around. You're going to get the same kind of garbage back in your life until you stand up and draw a line in the sand and command your existence, command your potential, command who you are, command your outcomes to happen, you're going to be suffering. The reason why I command my realities is because I know the power is inside of me. So I command myself. I don't get on an airplane and pray to arrive at my destination safely. I command I arrive at my destination safely. I command it. Why? Because the same power of the Creator is inside of my body. I don't, please help me make sure I get there right on time and I arrive safely. No, that's a slave's mentality. I'm not a slave. I got the power of the Creator flowing through every atom in my body. So that I have a fraction of that power in me. I'm going to command things into reality with confidence. My prayer is, I command it. That's it. I'm done. That's the whole prayer. That's the whole prayer. There's nothing
And so it is.
else for me to say. There's nothing else to say. Command it. Walk in your true power. Stop giving your power away to these entities that hoodwinked humanity and fooled you and gave you a book that sent you down to your own demise. You're praying to Enki and Lil Anu, Amun-Ra, Marduk, Isis. What do you think Genesis is? Isis was the one who gave birth to Adam in the cuneiform tablets.
What did I say? The book Genesis means the genealogy of Isis. Okay? We know that Genesis derives from the ancient Greek word genos, which means the replenishing. Okay? And that was the replenishing of the planet through through the gene basically of Seth as well, okay? Seth being Enos, okay? Enos meaning to be mortal. So through these mortals, okay, and they were given a deity that they should worship being the Yahweh, okay?
Incredible still in the
Which in the Bible was the first time that any time that they had worship. The first time that the mortals had even worshipped anybody.
Exists at the British Museum, which I'm going to see in a few weeks. Right? It's the generations of Isis. That's Genesis, Genesis. The generations of Isis. That's why it was given that name. You got to study all this stuff. You got to become smarter. Because why? It's leading humanity down the path of destruction continuously. More people have died over religious beliefs than any other reason on the planet. If it's supposed to be all-knowing and all-loving and all peaceful and all this and that, why the rape, the pillaging, the killing, the murder? Still going on today in the name of God. Still going on today in the name of God. You guys got to understand, you got to get knowledge. You got to be able to read non-commodity scripts. You got to be willing to read the complete Apocrypha, the lost books of the Bible that were kept out. Did you guys know that there's a book in the Bible that's at Harvard Seminary called The Gospel of Jesus' Wife? Oh, yeah. Did you know that in the Sinai Bible, which predates the King James Bible, Jesus was never even crucified, guys. He lived on, got married, never got crucified. That was fabricated by the Roman Catholic Church.
Who did he get crucified? I mean, who did he marry? Mary Magdalene. Had children and everything. So they had to keep, you have to understand, they had to keep Jesus being this mystical person, right? You have to understand, they had to make him give you something to believe in. So if they told you that he got married, then it would take away from the power and the mystic of it all.
Just like hell was added to the Bible in the 1600s. The rapture was added to the Bible by William James Darby in 1835. I'm going to lead you with a couple things tonight. A couple things for you to understand where you are spiritually and what has locked you down mentally into this religious system that has completely dogmatically destroyed an entire civilization of people on this planet. Christianity was spread around the planet by hate, by murder, by killing, and by rape. It wasn't spread by love. That's how they did it. They went to all these indigenous tribes, and then they said, okay, you guys are going to follow this, or I'm going to kill you. I'm going to take your chief out here, your bushman. I'm going to torture him in front of the whole crew, in front of the whole family. And if you guys don't want to be like this, then you better fall in line, learn my language, and pray to my God. And that's what happened. I'm going to read you some top 10 signs that you're a fundamentalist Christian and that you've been hoodwinked and that you've really fallen into the deception. You vigorously deny existence of thousands of gods claimed by other religions, but feel outraged when someone denies the existence of yours. You feel insulted, dehumanized when scientists say that people evolved from other life forms, but you have no problem with the biblical claim that we were created from dirt. When I tell people that the Anunnaki genetically modified the existing hominid on this planet and they're Christian, they go crazy. No. You laugh at polytheists, but you have no problem believing in a triune God. Okay? You don't have any problem believing in Trinity. Your face turns people when you hear when you hear the atrocities attributed by Allah, but you don't flinch when you're hearing how God Jehovah slaughtered all the babies in Egypt. You laugh at Hindu beliefs that deify humans and Greek claims about God sleeping with women, but you have no problem believing that the Holy Spirit impregnated Mary. You're willing to spend your life looking for little loopholes in the scientifically established age of Earth, which is a few billion years, but you find nothing wrong with believing dates recorded by Bronze Age tribesmen sitting in their tents, guessing that Earth is a few generations old, just guessing at the age of the planet. Just guess. We'll just guess. 6,000 years. You know why they believe that the Earth is 6,000 years old? Most Christians is because the Sumerian tablets are 6,000 years old, and that's when the story started. It was recopied most recently. It's not based on any science or geology. You believe that the entire population of this planet, with the exception of those who share your beliefs, though excluding those in all rival sects, will spend eternity in infinite hell as suffering. Yet consider your religion the most tolerant and loving. So loving. But you're going to burn in a lake of fire. If I had $1 for every person that told me I was going to burn in a lake of fire, I'd be a trillionaire right now. While modern science, history, geology, biology, and physics have failed to convince you otherwise, some rolling around on the floor speaking in tongues may be all the evidence you need to prove Christianity. You don't need anything else. That's it. That's your evidence right there. Science out the window. Evidence out the window. You define 0.1% as a high success rate when it comes to answered prayers. Literally. It's luck of the draw. Your prayers don't work. 85% of the people on the planet are religious. There are millions and maybe even trillions of prayers going up daily because people paying multiple times a day times 8 billion. And it's not working, guys. Sorry, not working. Meditation has a better success rate than prayers. And you actually know a lot less than many atheists and agnostics do about the Bible, Christianity, and church history. But you still call yourself a Christian, but you know nothing about the book whatsoever. 99.9% of Christians have never even read the entire Bible. I've read the entire Bible over 100 times, back and forth, inside and out, upside and down. I know all the information in the Bible. I've calculated and clocked and tagged and tipped all the information in there that's pertinent to my research and information that I need to learn about and know, because it's important for me to understand and know about all the topics and information and historical context in there as I dig into deeper and more ancient text. How in the world can I know more about the Bible than you, and I'm not even a Christian? And I do believe in a creator, but not the one in that book. You're praying to multiple people.
I'm the same way, man. I truly do believe in the creator, man. And my reason for believing in the creator, y'all, is because we have to understand, man, in order for the sun to move in the order that it does, the sun and the moon, every day, okay, it gets light and dark at a certain time. Now, we know that the moon is not real, okay, but in order for things to happen the way that it's happening, you have to understand that someone that created this light cold matrix that we stay in, okay? That alone for me says, yes, it's a creation. We didn't just happen to be here, okay? It started from somewhere.
All right, guys. That's my time coming to an end today. Every now and then, you know, I got to pull out my little spanking stick, hit you, and like, hey, whoa, wait a minute.
All right, y'all. Well, you know, I mean, I feel like this was a very, very informative live tonight. I feel like, you know, we learned a few things, man. I'm hoping that you guys learned. Now, I know it's a lot of people in the comment section, man, that's basically saying, man, that this was basically religion blasting. First of all, we don't believe in religion over here. We are for the spiritual growth, okay? We understand that it's a different level. Religion does nothing but divide people, okay? For me, at least, that's what I believe. I believe that religion keeps us divided, okay? Because the Muslims believe one thing, the Christians believe one thing, the Hindus believe one thing, okay? The more science, they believe another thing, okay? And so while we arguing amongst each other, not really knowing what's going on, you see what I'm saying? We can't even get down to the nitty gritty of things because it's all about what my beliefs are in this Bible and what his beliefs are in this Bible, so on and so forth. When you have to understand that, bro, we have to do the research that's necessary in order to get to where we need to go, okay? And that's just the fact of it. That's the fact of it, okay? We need to do the meditation that is necessary in order to start getting that energy evened out in us in terms of them 7 chakras. We need to start looking within because all the answers that we want to know is within, okay? We are the gods. And for those of you who still vibrate at the frequency of the Bible and want to say, oh, we are not gods, that just tells me that everything that he has been saying and I've been saying for the last however it is that you've been following me, all right, it's went completely over your head, okay? Because we know that even in the Bible, all right, Jesus said that, isn't it said, okay, or Jesus, okay, whatever it is that you want to call him, all right? He said, isn't it said, didn't my father say, I say unto you that you are gods? When they was finna get ready to stone him, he said, didn't my father say unto you, I say that you are gods? Okay? Because they wanted to stone him because they said a mere man himself could never be a god. And this is blasphemy to even say that. So he had to correct them. You feel me? He had to correct them. All right? And so, man, y'all, we just got to start. We got to do better, bro. Research is necessary, bro. It's necessary. Okay? And so with that being said, man, if you ain't following me already on YouTube, man, please follow me on YouTube, man. All of the videos that I posted over here is going to be posted over there, okay? So if you want to go back and find them, then they'll be on YouTube, okay? If you want to go back and find them, they'll be on YouTube because I don't know how this Facebook thing works. I don't know if you can complete. I know I got a lot of people saying that they go down my timeline trying to find other things, but they can't find them. But just know if you can't find them over there, they're going to be posted on YouTube. If they ain't posted over there right now, then they're getting posted as days go on, okay? Also, follow me on Instagram, man. We finna be doing a lot of good eating over there, right? We're going to do a lot of good eating over there. And we most definitely going to do some working out for those of you who want to, join me on that journey, all right? And so with that being said, man, I want to leave you as I came, man. And if you got anything informative from this video, man, I would ask you go ahead and share it, all right? But I want to leave you as I came, and I want you guys to always be aware because to be aware is to be alive. And as always, peace, family. Peace meaning positive energy always creates elevation. Ashe.